Good morning, and today we're going to talk about jealousy and control. Jealousy exists, control is an illusion. Right after this. You have to be strong enough to endure these things. You have to approach women. With today's social media, she's constantly being hit on. Women are always in the game. You have to stay focused. We are men. That's what we do. All right, here we go. Jealousy and control. As I said, control is an illusion. You cannot control anyone without being controlled by them. I remember years ago, I used to tell people, excuse me, I used to tell people that you just need to control your environment, the people around you. And I actually believed that. But as I grew in wisdom later on, I realized that you can't control anyone. And if you think you do, let me tell you this. Let's say you have a girlfriend or a wife, and she doesn't do what you want her to do. Let's say she goes out and she continues to come home late. Okay, and of course you don't like that, which would be normal for any man, because you wonder what she's doing, and you don't quite believe what she's saying. So you get a GPS and put it on her car to find out where she's going. So maybe you find out that she's seeing another man, and you have a fight with her about it, and she promises never to do it again, and you stay with her. Now, you would think that you're controlling that situation, but really, you put the GPS on the car. So you reacted to her actions. Who's controlling who? Look at all the steps you took, the energy you put out, and the money you spent, and the time that you used to find out she was cheating on you. So you could get control of the situation. Now, she promised she would quit, but if she doesn't want to, she doesn't have to. You have not controlled anything. The reality of it is she has controlled you because you acted or reacted because of what she was doing, and you took the action to control a situation that you have no control over. You think you may have it controlled, but you don't. She could go out the next night and do the same thing. There are many situations like that. If there's a fire in your house, you try to get the fire under control, and maybe you do. But you are acting in accordance to the power of the fire. You are acting because of the fire. So who is controlling who? You are controlling the fire, or is the fire controlling you? I mean, the only way out of that, of course, would be just to walk away and let your house burn down. So I'm not saying you don't put the fire out. The point I'm making is control is an illusion. Now, the only thing you do have control over is not the outside world, but what you think and the actions you take. And even that sometimes you don't have control over. Go take a box of X-Laxes and try to control your bowel movements about, the next day, or however long it takes them to, to take effect. Do you control your blood flow? Do you control your heartbeat? I can control some of that through meditation, but still, your body does that all by itself. Do you regulate the blood flow? Do you regulate the minerals that come from your food to go to certain parts of your body, your nervous system? All these things are controlled by something other than your conscious mind. What you can control, as I said, is your thinking. Now let's go on to another emotion. Before we talked about maybe fear. Out of fear, you were trying to control your woman. Let's talk about jealousy. Now, jealousy gets a bad rap just like anger and fear does. But these are feelings or emotions. If you're up on a building and you're afraid of falling off, that is a fear that helps you and keeps you safe. It's only when fear gets out of proportion, when you allow it to control you instead of you using it to keep yourself safe, that it becomes a problem. The same with jealousy. If you're out with your woman and some man is flirting with her, I don't have a problem with that as long as she is not reacting favorably to him. And if she does, then I take some action, which may be, hey, let's go home, because that's disrespectful. You don't have to yell at her. You don't have to be a jerk to her. You don't have to get butt hurt, as they call it. You just take the action, what you need to do to get yourself back in a state of mind where it doesn't matter to you. Because with women, you always have to be ready to let them walk, or you be willing to walk away. Now, you're going to feel a certain emotion there, but I would say, at least my advice, the wrong thing to do would be to get butt hurt, bitch her out about it, act like you're worried about her going with the other man. That would be a real jealous reaction where you allowed your emotions to control you. As a man, you need to use logic. And in this situation, the logical thing to do would be to, if she was really being blatantly disrespectful and flirting with this guy in front of you, would just be to say, hey, let's go home. Why? Why do you want to go home? I got things to do in the morning. You don't need to say anything to her. You could, on the way home or before she gets out, say, I don't like the way you acted tonight with that other man. And just leave it at that. Say your piece and go on and just do what they call a soft next. And depending on how badly she flirted with this guy, you might want to do a hard next and never see her again. But you could keep her around to maybe make her a FWB, friends with benefits, if you like, if you're not too emotionally involved with her. I find that ex-girlfriends are difficult to have friends with benefits with because you had a great emotional attachment to them, if you did. And as a man, it's important not to get yourself too attached to any woman. A woman is here to help you to succeed. And if she's an anchor instead of a sail or wind for your sails, then you need to let her go. She should never be so important that you should be reacting with any of these emotions of jealousy or trying to control her. Because the energy you use there, you could be using to pursue your goals, your mission, your dreams, what you should be doing as a man. So remember, these emotions are not bad in themselves. Anger, jealousy, fear, sadness, anxiety. Anxiety is just another word for fear. All these emotions are part of your human experience. It's just a question of how you use them. You can use them to benefit yourself and others. Anger is a good emotion, it can be. I had a situation here once where I had to confront a person that was threatening my kids. I didn't get angry, but I got in a state of, how do I say, preparedness for battle or war, and I had to physically remove this guy from my property. He was quite a bit bigger than I was too. Was I angry? I really don't know if I was angry. You have to be careful with anger. I guess I was angry that he wouldn't leave, but when it come down to the time where I had to act physically, I wasn't angry then. I was more focused. But the anger gave me the motivation to go down and confront this guy and do what needed to be done. So anger is really fear dressed up because you're afraid something's going to happen, or you're afraid something did happen that you didn't like or that you can't control. You need to think about these emotions, not stuff them down. You need to feel them. Sadness, if you want to cry, that's okay. But don't be crying in front of your woman or your kids, because they look to you for strength. And when someone cries, it looks like they are vulnerable and weak. And contrary to what the narrative is now about men need to be vulnerable, no, they don't need to be vulnerable in front of their women and children. Maybe in front of their mentor or their best buddy, it's okay. I have nothing wrong with crying. I've cried out of joy. I've cried out of sadness. I've cried out of hurt. You need to express these emotions, but there's a time and a place for everything. A time and a place for everything under the sun. A time to cry, a time to weep, a time to mourn, a time to rejoice, a time to give, a time to take. Everything in its proper order at the proper time. And as I've lived my life, I'm almost 62 years old now, I know that more now than ever. There's a time for everything. And usually my time is like right now. But the proper time is usually, I need to wait for that proper time. We don't like to wait for anything. But it's a good idea when you feel that emotional charge to stop. If you can, now if you're in a dangerous situation, you need to act spontaneously. But if someone pisses you off, like your woman or your kids or your boss or a client, or you get a message or an email or something that makes you feel anger, it's usually better to wait before you respond. Calm down, and if you can, let's say you get a text message from your woman, and you're like, what the is she talking about? I mean, the first thing you want to do is send her a message back and say, what the hell is this shit? But the best thing to do is just to wait and not do anything until an emotion settles down. As a man, you are supposed to be able to control your emotions. Your logic should be able to overrule your emotions. That's the difference between you and a woman. Women have a hard time controlling their emotional natures, and they need a man like you to lean on. You need to be their rock, their mountain, so when they go through these uncontrollable emotional storms, which is usually during their menstrual cycle, they can depend on you to be strong. Never allow her to see that she's pushed your buttons. Women will constantly test you to see how strong you are. I got a notification here. Okay, so remember that. Control your emotions. Now that doesn't mean stuffing them down. Control them, express them at the proper time and place. Be stoic. Contrary to what some people believe, being stoic is not being a zombie, a rock, never showing your emotions. It's using your emotions and controlling your emotions and expressing them when they need to be expressed to the degree that they need to be expressed. Now, if anger was no good for anything, we would probably submit to anyone who comes along and tries to oppress us. But we don't do that because we value our freedom. And when someone tries to take that away, we feel anger, which comes from fear of being constrained. So you can find good in all these emotions. As I said, it's only when they get out of your control. You have the power to control your thinking and your emotions, thus your actions. And that is what you need to do as a masculine man. All right, that's all I got time for today. If this has been of value to you, you can hit the PayPal donate button. Or if you'd like to get my help personally, you can contact me at marksinspirationalguidance is my website. And the email will be in the description. Share this with a friend. Tonight, I'm going to be on Hot Dude Party with MLD. I'm looking forward to that. And of course, we have the podcast tonight at 6 p.m. And I think that's about it. I got a big day today. Got a lot of things to do. And I hope you do too. Have a great day. Take care.